So today is a rest day for the most part. Yesterday I did not rest. I went for like a 12-mile hike on the beach. So I was able to get in on the website, which is developed by a third-party developer called Zing. And I don't want in any way to malign them through this diary, but the reality is that some of the information on that website was completely fabricated. And I imagine, this is just me guessing, but I imagine what's happening now is that the website developer takes the written information that I give her, or give them. In this case, it happened to be a her. I don't think that's anything to do with anything at all. But I think that she probably took the information that I gave her and used it, and actually did quite a good job overall. And I should really have filmed a little bit more of the website itself, and maybe I'll use a screenshot of scrolling around on the website here to show off that overall the information on the site, the photos on the site, I wasn't all that helpful initially, to be honest. I gave her a written introduction that I wanted to be included on the website. I think she did, whether the assistance of AI was involved or not, I think she did a really nice job of pulling from that and finding some information about my business from what is that other site called, Yelp, where I had an account at one time and deleted that account, or deleted the paid functions of that account because I didn't find them to be valuable. But there was still some information up there, and there were some photos, and the software that they use pulled photos from my business profile on Yelp, and possibly my Google business profile, but I don't think so, and compiled all of that information and all those photos and all the information that I had personally sent, and did a really nice job overall making the website. But what was completely inaccurate on that site was, first of all, there were reviews on the site when she first submitted it to me. And I said the reviews need to go because these are not real reviews from real people. It's completely fabricated. So the reviews were gone, and she did what I asked and took the reviews off before publishing the site. But as I was looking around the site more today and going through all the pages, I came across a page, and there's only a couple of them on the site, but one of those pages had percentages for some reason. It said 95% on-time deliveries, 100%. I don't remember, but I'll put the shot that I took of it up here so you'll see. But what really stood out to me was 90% customer satisfaction. And I actually think that 90% customer satisfaction is a terrible customer satisfaction rate. That would mean that 1 out of every 10 people I work with is not happy. And I think that my customer satisfaction rate is actually much higher than that. So, and also I think 95% on-time deliveries, that's actually not bad, but it does require more context, because whether or not that's a good or bad number kind of depends on, are you doing local deliveries? Are you doing long distance deliveries? What expectations do you communicate up front? Is there a delivery window? And if it's a long distance delivery, like the Michigan to California deliveries I just did, that delivery window could be multiple days. Or are you saying I will be there at 4 p.m. and 4:01 p.m. that same day is considered late? So 95% on time sounds decent. It actually doesn't sound that great to me until you give some context to it. But the fact is that those numbers are completely false. So it doesn't matter how good or bad they sound, they're just not accurate, and they didn't even come from anywhere. Didn't provide any information whatsoever about that type of thing, so I'm not really sure why it got put in there. But it does answer the question for me are certain websites just completely fabricated, using false information that looks real, that looks, authentic, legitimate. There's specific numbers there. And sometimes when I read other people's websites or other businesses' websites, there's kind of a sliding scale of the extent to which it looks fabricated, and some look extremely fabricated. Looks like stuff that was just completely made up. And this really confirms for me that could be the case. Back to the 100% or the 90% customer satisfaction rate, really quickly. I do not think that's a good satisfaction rate. I think mine is much higher. I have had customers who were not happy. It's bound to happen eventually. And it does not necessarily mean the customer did not like me or did not, feel that I did my best to provide the best service that I could. It could mean that something went wrong completely outside my control, but they weren't happy about it. And, you have the right to not be happy about something, even if you like the person providing the service. Whenever something does go wrong, even if it is outside my control, I do my best to make that right with the customer, or to do something, even if I don't necessarily need to do anything to make it right with the customer. Maybe nothing's really wrong with the customer. Maybe there's nothing really to make right, but there might still be something I can do to make things better for them. For example, I recently did a delivery where the customer helped me load the items, and he actually specified how he wanted the items to be placed, and I didn't agree. And there was some damage that was specifically related to how the items were placed at loading. And I had told him up front that this load is uninsured. It's not covered by any sort of guarantee or insurance. And I had offered that if he wanted to seek a different service, he had already made a deposit on this service. And I said, if you want to seek a different service, you can do that, and I'll give you your money back in full. But I'm just communicating with you. This is what to expect. And when that item got damaged and he had to remake one of 24 beams that he was sending, which were his own product, I covered a significant portion of that cost, even though I had disagreed with how it was being loaded. I had expressed that I thought the other way was better, and I had told him up front, I'm not insuring this, and I'm not offering any kind of guarantee at all. But the fact is, I could have said specifically, I will not load it like that. I see the potential for damage, and I insist that we load it this other way. And I do feel that as the transporter, it is ultimately my responsibility to make those calls and decisions. But it can be tricky. It can be tricky to find that balance. And the fact was that I felt he had been fair with me. I felt that he had given me the price I had asked for and actually offered more up front. And then a few things happened on his end that actually did slow the process down and did cause some issues on my end and did make it cost more to me. So I had told him either I'm going to cancel or increase the price by $100, and he chose to go with the increased price. All in all, I felt like there was something I could do as a token gesture to my customer, and I chose to do it. And I didn't feel that I had to. I didn't even feel that he'd be mad at me if I didn't do it. I didn't feel like it would affect whether or not he chose to give me business again in the future. even though I didn't see any practical implication or impact on my business or on me, for the better of giving the partial refund that I gave, I decided to do it anyways because I felt like it was the right thing to do. Because I feel like when something happens, no matter what you can trace it back to, I have some responsibility to my customer within reason to make it as right as possible. And I chose to do that for him. And I've done that for all my other customers as well. I don't have control over everything that happens in the process. Sometimes something goes wrong that I do have control over. Sometimes I do make mistakes, everybody does. And other times I've had issues come up that I had no control over whatsoever. But it still affects the delivery, it affects the customer. And so I make those things right, and then I live and learn that I need to charge enough overall that I can afford to make things right even when it's not my mistake. Because ultimately my customer is hiring me to do a job, and if the job doesn't get done 100% correctly, even if it's due to an external factor that I don't have control over, I'm still on a personal moral level, and possibly on a what's best for business level, going to need to provide some compensation. So I just need to provide prices up front that leaves room for that. So that's all for today. I want to get this up, move on, get one other little video made today for this channel, and then I want to find a place to hang a hammock in these redwoods, not on a living tree. That's something I just learned as a preference in the campground I stayed at last night. And I don't know about here, but there you're not allowed to hang one on a living tree. That's fine. There should be plenty of things I can find to hang a hammock on besides a living tree. There's a lot of woods here, a lot of shade, and a lot of potential rest to be had for the rest of the day. So I'm going to get this thing up and enjoy the rest of the restful day, knowing that I do have a pickup scheduled tomorrow. So stay tuned if you're interested in that, and see you later.